question. Why do older women date younger men thinking they can change them and mold them? Like they gonna settle down at 26. Why do y'all do that?
Since we've talked about older men who date younger women and substantially younger women, let's talk about older women who date younger men. And I am one of them. I don't make any effort to hide that. I do that for two reasons. Number one, physical. Men my age, at least in my area, don't age well. They don't take great care of themselves. They don't stay physically active.
I get the question all the time, why are so many older women dating younger guys? There's probably a lot of reasons for that, but some of the major ones are women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s they're hitting their prime. That's when they're hitting their prime. They've spent 20 years raising a family, their kids, now the kids are grown. They're rediscovering who they are.
How long have you been single, waiting for that older man to approach you, and it haven't happened yet? And as a woman, and you are there watching, right, your clock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, a lot of you start to get scared. And so I'm going to give you a few reasons why you should consider dating a mature, younger man.
Today, we're plunging into a social phenomenon that's definitely more than just a passing trend. It seems to be a real shift, a significant one, in relationship dynamics that our sources are really buzzing about. Okay, let's unpack this. We're observing, well, a clear increase in older women pursuing younger men.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the twist, the specific detail that really jumped out from the research.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just about women dating men in their, say, late 20s or 30s. What we're seeing more often now are relationships where the younger partner is, well, barely entering adulthood. We're talking late teens, early 20s sometimes.
Yeah, that's the striking part.
And our sources, looking at studies, social trends over the past decade or so, they describe this as a pretty notable evolution. You know, the whole cougar idea, once a very taboo, seems to have really moved into the mainstream conversation.
It has.
So this deep dive, we're tackling that central kind of multi-layered question. Is this trend really about genuine connection? Is it about power dynamics? A quest for renewed vitality? Or maybe something much more complex underneath?
Right.
Our mission here is to explore all those facets, the psychological drivers, societal reactions, everything trying to offer you a nuanced understanding without passing judgment.
What's truly fascinating here is, well, just how complex it is. This isn't a simple story at all.
No.
And it immediately challenges so many traditional ideas we hold about gender, age, power, the usual relationship scripts.
Yeah.
Society has these long-standing, often unspoken rules, right, about who should date whom. And when those rules get flipped, it just inevitably shines a light on these deeply ingrained cultural double standards.
That double standard is huge.
It really is. So we'll be digging into why these particular relationships often face such different scrutiny compared to, say, the reverse, and what that tells us about our collective biases. Our exploration will cover the, diverse motives fueling these connections, but also the inherent risks and challenges involved. We want to invite you, the listener, to consider multiple, sometimes maybe uncomfortable perspectives on what these relationships genuinely represent.
Indeed. And let's dive right into the why then. Why this significant increase? Our sources consistently point to this really compelling desire, it seems, for older women to reclaim a sense of vitality. But it sounds like it's more than just feeling younger.
Precisely. That's a key distinction. Many women describe almost a magnetic pull towards the energy, the sense of adventure, maybe that kind of unburdened optimism that younger men often bring.
Right.
The research really delves into this. They frame it sometimes in terms of novelty seeking, that desire for new experiences, fresh perspectives that can, inject some excitement back into life.
Okay.
And also what psychologists might call ego resilience. It's about actively engaging with a less cynical viewpoint, maybe a more spontaneous way of living. For many, this represents a really powerful psychological rejuvenation. It's quite distinct from just, chasing youth itself. It's more like connecting to a different life stage, almost like a breath of fresh air, psychologically speaking.
One of the reasons why older women are looking to date younger men is because their sexual drive have multiplied, and man their own age cannot
keep up. Some don't want to keep up. Some is suffering from ED and don't have the stamina to keep up. And so women don't want to just give up on their sexuality. They don't want to give up on their sexy time. And so they are seeking younger partners to fulfill their desire. Because during this time, a woman's vitality have increased, their juiciness have increased. And so they want partner who's going to be able to fulfill them and satisfy them. And so that is one of the reasons why a lot of women are seeking younger men, because they're no longer afraid, right, to embrace their sexuality, their sensuality. They're no longer afraid to say, hey, I want to have good sexy time, right? Because now we are thinking about our needs, right? And so that is one of the reasons why a lot of women are looking for the younger men, and they are proud of it. But not all younger men have skill or experience. So be careful with the partner you choose.
I get the question all the time, why are so many older women dating younger guys? There's probably a lot of reasons for that, but some of the major ones are women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s they're hitting their prime. That's when they're hitting their prime. They've spent 20 years raising a family, their kids, now the kids are grown. They're rediscovering who they are. They want to go out. They want to have fun. They haven't been able to do that because of raising kids. This is also the time, unfortunately, 40s, 50s, and 60s, when guys are slowing down. They're getting tired. They are more set in their ways. They don't want to go out and have fun as much. I'm generalizing here. This is also the time when a lot of divorces are happening because of some of those are the factors and a lot of other factors as well. However, that's when women want to go out, have fun, rediscover themselves. Now they're free. They want to have some fun, and they're in their prime. So the argument has been made among many cougars, why go for the older guys when you can go for younger? Because most guys, whatever their age, are still playing games, still kind of children, still lie, still cheat. So why go for the older when you can go for the younger, who have more energy, they're more fit, they want to go out and have fun. Most older guys, will have more baggage. For instance, they'll have one, maybe two ex-wives. They'll have children that they're still supporting. So they've got alimony, they've got child support. They're more set in their ways. They don't want to go out and have fun as much. Whereas the younger guys, it's the opposite. The younger guys have less baggage usually. They don't have children that they're supporting. They're more adventurous. They have more stamina. They're more sexual. There's a lot of factors there.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Please.
Do the sources offer any counterpoints? Like, are there potential pitfalls in seeking that specific kind of energy? Does it risk just being a temporary fix rather than leading to a lasting, deep connection?
That's a critical question, and yes, the sources do address it. While that initial surge of vitality can be, well, intoxicating, analysts point out that sustaining a relationship requires more than just an age difference providing energy.
Of course.
It boils down to genuine compatibility, shared values, things like that. And this pursuit of freshness also brings us to the broader psychology of desire. Sometimes women are drawn to what's described as the curiosity and, that often lighter, less jaded outlook of younger men. Mm-hmm. They're often still navigating their initial career paths or, big personal discoveries. That process itself can be invigorating for a partner who's maybe already been through those stages.
And this leads us naturally into that element of role reversal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems many women in these relationships find real satisfaction in being the admired one, the one with more life experience.
Yeah.
Maybe holding a certain level of not necessarily control, but perhaps mentorship.
Yes, that dynamic is definitely present.
It can be a powerful feeling, especially for women who might have felt undervalued or overlooked in past relationships with partners closer to their own age. It's a shift, maybe, from competing for attention to being the focal point, the one whose experience is genuinely valued.
Exactly. That desire for a different kind of validation is potent, but it immediately makes you ask, and the sources pose this carefully, is this truly empowerment, a genuine assertion of agency? Or could it perhaps, in some cases, be a more complex search for something else? Maybe even a subtle way of exerting control, mirroring dynamics we often criticize when the genders and ages are flipped.
Oh, okay.
It really pushes us to examine the internal motivations quite critically, what's really driving it.
That's a crucial, really nuanced distinction. And when we connect that to the bigger picture, it highlights how societal pressures, especially those that tend to marginalize women as they age, can certainly shape personal choices.
Absolutely.
Seeking a younger partner can feel like a powerful way to push back against that narrative, against being made invisible. However, the sources also caution us, right? Is that pushback always genuinely empowering? Or does it sometimes maybe mask a deeper insecurity about aging? Or even a desire to kind of recapture a sense of youth through another person? It invites a deeper look beyond just the surface appearance of liberation.
And speaking of societal narratives and pressures, we simply cannot ignore the glaring cultural double standard at play here. This is a point the research absolutely hammers home, and for very good reasons.
It's unavoidable, really.
For centuries, and let's be honest, still very much today, older men dating much younger women has been largely normalized. Maybe not always approved of, but normalized.
You see it everywhere. Pop culture, media.
Casual conversation, often without anyone batting an eye.
It's almost comically hypocritical sometimes, isn't it? Our sources even point to examples where public figures face wildly different media coverage based purely on gender. The woman is often labeled predatory or desperate.
Exactly. Those labels get thrown around much more readily. The sociological roots of this double standard run deep, don't they?
They really do.
Studies point straight to historical power structures. Male social and economic dominance basically allowed for such pairings for a long time. And this was often reinforced by patriarchal norms that, valued female youth and fertility above almost everything else.
Right.
So when an older man dates a much younger woman, society often reads it, however problematically, as maybe a display of status or even some kind of biological imperative, which raises the key question.
Oh.
Why isn't the reverse seen in the same light?
No, why the difference?
Well, the cultural judgment surrounding female sexuality has historically just been far, far harsher than that applied to male sexuality, and that legacy clearly persists.
That's a really clear explanation of why the double standard is so entrenched. But then the sources push further, don't they? They ask a very uncomfortable but absolutely necessary question about consent and power, especially when the age gap is significant and one partner is barely an adult.
This cauldron of agency is pivotal, absolutely pivotal. The research really compels us to consider, are younger men, particularly those barely out of their teens or maybe in their early 20s, are they always truly in a position to give fully informed consent to the dynamics of such a relationship?
That's the core of it.
Or could they be subtly pressured, perhaps influenced, simply due to their relative inexperience, their developmental stage, or even sometimes a significant resource disparity, meaning differences in income, stability, life establishment on the part of the older partner?
It's tricky territory.
And this isn't about assigning blame to anyone. It's about critically examining the inherent power imbalances that can exist in any relationship, regardless of gender. These dynamics are often asymmetrical, unequal, and they can lead to unintended consequences down the line.
That's a crucial point. And it leads us directly into the very real risks and challenges that can come up in these relationships beyond just that initial dynamic. The reality is a significant age gap often means significant differences in life goals, expectations.
Absolutely. You might have an older woman who is perhaps looking for established companionship, maybe stability. She might have built her life. Maybe she's even thinking about retirement.
Right. Established.
While the younger man is still navigating those crucial developmental stages, figuring out education, career path, maybe even his fundamental sense of self and identity, he might just not be ready for that kind of settled existence yet.
And those different life trajectories, that sounds like a recipe for friction.
It can create considerable friction, yes. What one partner sees as an exciting adventure, the other might perceive as, well, a lack of commitment, or vice versa. The perspectives can be fundamentally different.
Since we've talked about older men who date younger women and substantially younger women, let's talk about older women who date younger men. And I am one of them. I don't make any effort to hide that. I do that for two reasons. Number one, physical. Men my age, at least in my area, don't age well. They don't take great care of themselves. They don't stay physically active. I do take care of myself. I do stay active. So it's basic principles of attraction. And then I'm not willing to compromise on the lifestyle that will keep me feeling and looking my best. Number two, it's mental. The men my age that I encounter in my area are battle scarred, and they're not willing to make an effort to learn and heal from it. They don't have a sense of humor. They don't have a zest for life and intellectual curiosity. They're a drag. That said, 10 years younger, that's my general cutoff for long-term consideration. And that's what I think older men and younger women should observe to keep things fair and not an uneven power dynamic. That's based on what I have seen and also other people I know. 10 years is a window where two people can be on a level playing field because they've had similar life experiences. Younger than that, it's possible that they haven't. And that's not fair. It's an uneven power dynamic. And quite frankly, for me, it's just not interesting. Anything more than a 10-year age difference, I have done that, but it's for a fun time, not a long time.
Men between the ages of 25 and 35, studies have shown that these guys have a higher level of emotional intelligence. Now, to add to that study, 40% of men in this age bracket value emotional connection, which is why we're seeing a rise in older women who are above 35 choosing to date men who are in that age bracket. An older woman who has everything she wants and needs in her life simply wants that emotional, deep connection. She wants someone who's going to be there for her mentally and emotionally, and these types of guys seem to be the ones that are showing up and providing that. Now, another trend that I've only seen online, I haven't read any studies, but I've seen it being promoted time and time again, is how men over the age of 40 should only seek to date women who are under 25. Now, there's a very good reason for that. Psychologically, anyone who is under 25, their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that is responsible for decision making, isn't fully formed. So they're going to be more open and susceptible to manipulation. Now, these older men who I've seen do posts on this time and time again claim that women who are in their age bracket are too much hard work and they demand too much from them. The younger women, however, are much easier to control. That is what I've seen and that is what I've heard. And with the science added in, it makes perfect sense.
How long have you been single waiting for that older man to approach you? And it haven't happened yet. And as a woman, and you are there watching, right, your clock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, a lot of you start to get scared. And so I am going to give you a few reasons why you should consider dating a mature, younger man, right? Number one, older men nowadays think that women 35 and up have hit the wall, right? And they don't want anything to do with them. And they are moving to younger women from 18. And so you could sit there, wait, or you could consider a young man who's knocking at your door, who's approaching you, who's saying that I want you. Ladies, go where you are worshipped and go where you are wanted. Number two is that the younger man will worship you because they are so happy that they got you as an older woman that they will worship the ground that you walk on. Number three, some older men, they are bitter and they're set in their ways and they don't want a woman to match them intellectually, so they will date a younger woman because they are also looking to be worshipped. They are looking for somebody they could train in the way that they want the woman to be. And so everyone needs to go where they are worshipped and not where they're tolerated. And so if you're an older woman who is still single and have been single for many years, you should consider dating a younger man. All right?
And it's not just life goals, but also emotional maturity, right? Our sources emphasize that while age isn't a perfect predictor of wisdom, there's generally some correlation between age, life experience, and emotional development.
There generally is. An older partner has likely navigated many more complex life challenges. They might understand emotional nuances, have developed coping mechanisms that a younger partner simply hasn't encountered yet.
So how does that play out?
Well, it can manifest as communication gaps, unmet emotional needs or expectations, sometimes even a subtle asymmetrical dependence where one partner leans much more heavily on the other for emotional guidance or, life direction.
I see.
The ability to navigate conflict effectively, to understand long-term consequences, even just managing daily stressors, these can vary immensely, and that can create strain, even in relationships where there's genuine affection. This disparity might even impact their attachment styles, one seeking security, the other maybe needing more exploration.
And this brings us to perhaps the most uncomfortable question, but one we really have to address candidly. Sometimes these relationships aren't purely about romance at all, are they?
That's something the sources push us to consider, yes. For some individuals, the dynamic might be driven more by a quest for a specific kind of validation, or perhaps a desire for control, maybe compensating for past relationships where they felt disempowered.
Okay.
And yes, look, in certain instances, a financial exchange, whether it's explicit or more implicit, can be a factor. This is where applying an ethical lens becomes absolutely critical.
How so?
Well, if we scrutinize older men for these same motivations, for potentially using their resources or life experience to influence or even exploit much younger women, then consistency demands we apply that same critical framework here.
Fair point.
The ethical dilemma isn't exclusive to one gender configuration. It forces us to ask if the pursuit of personal desires, however understandable they might seem, could sometimes cross a line into leveraging power disparities, even if it's unintentional. It's really about ensuring genuine equity and agency for both individuals involved.
That's a vital, if challenging, consideration. However, it's also really important, isn't it, to move beyond just generalizations and stereotypes? Because not every relationship with a big age gap is toxic or transactional.
Oh, absolutely not. The sources are very clear on this too. Many of these relationships genuinely thrive. They're built on mutual respect, deep affection, genuine connection.
So it can work.
Definitely. The research highlights that the success often hinges on factors far beyond just the age number. Things like shared values, complementary personalities, strong communication skills, and importantly, a conscious effort from both partners to navigate those potential power dynamics we've been discussing. That's key. Many couples find real balance, deep connection, proving that love, in its remarkable way, often transcends boundaries of age, culture, or societal expectation, provided there's true equity and understanding underneath it all.
Right.
They often succeed precisely because they openly address these very challenges we've outlined.
It's a good reminder that human connection is incredibly diverse. The danger, then, seems not to be in the age gap itself necessarily, but perhaps in pretending that the inherent dynamics, both the potentially positive ones and the potentially negative ones, don't exist.
Exactly. Or ignoring the potential for one partner to wield disproportionate influence over the other, consciously or not.
So acknowledging those dynamics openly by both partners, that seems like the first critical step towards ensuring a relationship that's healthy and equitable.
Precisely. Awareness is key.
So as we bring this deep dive towards a close, let's try to synthesize this really complex picture we've been exploring. The observable trend: older women pursuing much younger men, especially those barely out of their teens. It's clearly a multifaceted phenomenon. It seems driven by this compelling mix of factors we talked about: reclaiming vitality, that idea of novelty seeking, and ego resilience. The search for different energies, different perspectives, the psychological lure of freshness and curiosity.
Right.
And sometimes, yes, a quest for a different kind of validation or maybe even control they didn't find elsewhere. And running through all of this, we've clearly seen that persistent cultural double standard. Society often normalizes older men with younger women, but scrutinizes the reverse with a much harsher, often clearly gender-biased gaze.
Yeah. And if we step back and connect this to the bigger picture, the broader societal tapestry, it really reinforces that nuanced understanding. While age gap relationships like these can certainly thrive with balance, respect, and real happiness, and many demonstrably do, it's absolutely crucial not to just brush aside the inherent power dynamics.
Can't ignore them.
Or the developmental differences and the potential risks and challenges they present. We've touched on how clashing life goals, different levels of emotional maturity, even resource disparities can definitely arise.
Okay.
And that uncomfortable question, whether these relationships are always purely about romance or if they are sometimes about validation, control, or even financial exchange, that remains a critical lens we have to maintain. It echoes the important ethical questions we raise about potential exploitation in other contexts, too.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, and maybe for modern society at large? This evolving trend, it challenges our very ideas about gender roles, about power, about aging, in some really profound ways.
It does.
Is this truly a form of liberation for women? A powerful act of challenging those old traditional norms and reclaiming agency in their own lives? Or is it, as our sources provocatively ask, maybe just a different face of exploitation? One that mirrors dynamics we criticize elsewhere, just with the genders flipped and the power structures may be reconfigured?
This tough question.
We'll leave you with this thought. Is it fundamentally fair game? Or does it cross a line into a new, complex territory that maybe demands more critical scrutiny from all of us? We really encourage you to consider your own perspectives on what these evolving relationship dynamics reveal about our modern views on gender, age, and critically consent.
Do women like older men?
Because, like I say, men take longer to develop mentally than women. Women just, are kind of better. We develop, we know what we want, we are very sure. Men don't lack that. Men have an ego and something to prove. I don't know, just older men kind of got their they got their stuff together,
Yeah, it's true. They're in their stride.
Exactly.
A lot of people are attracted to
and they're more experienced. They lived
a
a little bit more. They have more experience, you know, than a younger guy.
Maturity is a big thing. There's
I would never go for a younger guy
mature.
again. I think that was the issue.
That was it.
That was the issue. He was young.
He was
immature. Immature, young, disrespectful.
He didn't understand.
And he didn't appreciate
the beautiful human being he had in his life.
His loss.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about it. I'll tell you.
100%. Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to breathe and just take a deep breath. That's all. You ain't got to use too many words. You ain't got to say a lot. You ain't got to act a certain way. You just breathe. Sometimes just breathe. All right.